You said that you were opposed to the war when the war was popular, implying that the war is not popular. So, if you were opposed to it when the majority of people were for it, and now you're for it when the majority is opposed to it, it sounds to me like you're pretty consistently going against the will of the people that you claim to represent. And that's not really something you should keep repeating. If you're not representing the people that hired you to represent them, but you are still collecting a salary, that is taxation without representation. And we, as Americans, know what to do about that.
In your scenario, should I have voted for the war?
For the funding for the war every time that vote has come up.
I ask you a different question. If we're going to stay with the logic that you seem to say, I'll tell you that the war was certainly popular at the time. The president after was re-elected. Are you saying I should have voted for the war even if I thought it was a mistake?
Yeah, because your job is not to vote according to what you think. Your job is to vote according to what the people think.
Madison sees it differently. And the problem there is, this is one issue. There are many other issues. I'll give you another example. Gay and lesbian rights. Majority opposed in this district. I've got polling. Should I seek to suppress gay and lesbian rights because the majority opposes?
No.
You represent these constituents, and it's your duty and your responsibility to find their pulse with regard to the war in Iraq and vote accordingly. But I have a feeling you're giving your thumbs up to Bush, and you cannot find the pulse with the thumb. So find it with this piece.
So I don't want to hear it anymore. I want you to pile up 1 million dead bodies, many children, women, young men, and go lie in it. And then vote. Okay? Then vote. Breathe it in. Smell it. Go lay in it. Don't go talk to the soldiers who happen to still be alive the day that you went to visit. Go roll in the ditches where the bodies have been thrown. Go do that if you want to see about the reality of war. It's the peace you want by voting for the war effort. The legal occupation. And then having peace. This is what it is.
So I ask that you lead us in bringing this administration up for war crimes, in addressing the breaking of international law, in trying to create justice in an unjust situation, and maybe then we won't need to be having more bloodshed.
Remember the first part of my trip to Iraq this time was specifically to places where people are finding ways to get along. Wahad al-Salam, Neve Shalom, Arava Institute in the Negev. I'm desperately searching to try to find those. I've met with a woman named Humala who wrote the book, A Human Being Died That Night. We're part of the truth, psychologist actually, South African woman, who is part of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. I've met with people from Ireland who've been part of a similar process. Interestingly enough, I actually raised this with some of the Iraqis, and I was kind of surprised. I thought they'd say this is BS, ain't going to work here. I was actually surprised that a number of them said they thought it might be good for the country. One of the things that we have done is before we went in, we underestimated the Sunni-Shia difference, and now we overestimate it. I met with Sunni politicians who said, look, Congressman, my wife is a Shia. This notion that we can never get along is not right. Al-Qaeda took advantage of it, they blew the Samara Mosque, and then it all hell broke loose. But they said what we want is technocratically competent people who are fair. New elections may help bring that about. As you know, the first election, the Sunnis didn't participate, that sort of torqued everything up there. You're absolutely right. We've got to try to find nonviolent solutions. We've got to get people back to work. We've got to try to get the water supply system working. And I think most Iraqis want that. One of the challenges, so many have fled. And by the way, we've got to support countries like Jordan. Jordan has taken a huge hit, and they're doing some wonderful things in that region. And frankly, if we can show better faith in the Palestinian-Israeli situation, that will have a profound impact in that region. It's part of why I went over there. So I share what you're about. This in no way do I believe that war is the answer. We need a much more complex, more nuanced, justice-based foreign policy. And I support that. Thank you.
So then, what I would say is that having our troops stay to continue a solution that's not working is not in the best interest of anyone. And part of what I appreciate is that you've come here to speak for people that we don't even know. That you at least are representing the individuals who we're harming as a nation. That he is. I mean, who else here can say that we have a moral and ethical obligation to fix what we have damaged? While I don't agree with keeping the troops, I do agree with the sentiment that we broke it, we started it, we need to do something. And again, I hope you will lead us in bringing this administration into the world court to face